Hello Laravel friends. Out of the box, Laravel Idea already provides a lot of auto-completion for your Laravel projects, but the most tricky part is when Eloquent comes into play. It uses a lot of magic PHP methods and depends on your migrations and database fields. That's why no IDE, not even PHP Storm, can help us here. Okay, for example, let's say we're interested in grabbing a specific user. And let's say we want to get a user where the name is Christoph. And then get this. And as you've seen, we didn't have auto-completion for the where method, we don't have it for name, and also don't get it for the get method. So all these things are not working because PHP Storm has no idea about how Eloquent is working. But don't worry, Laravel Idea got you covered again. We can generate the needed Eloquent helper code. So again, we're using the generate command for Laravel IDE, and then we're looking for generate Eloquent helper code. And here we have some options that we can define. First, we can say if we want to fetch data from the migrations or from the database connection. Normally migrations is enough, but this depends on if your migrations are the same as your real database fields. Then we can check if we want to create collection proxy helper classes as well. I'm going to show you this in a bit. Then also if we want to add a count property for relations where we also get them back with the count of the relations. And then third option, we can also define if we want to remove PHP docs from our model classes. Let's run this and let's get back to our example again. And you can immediately see that the where method is now being recognized by PHP Storm. But let's try this again. You can see now we have auto-completion for all the different methods. And now let's say if we're interested in the name, for example, we have auto-completion. And then again for what comes next, like the get method, which I wanted to use. And we can take this even further by calling where name as a method, which now combines the where method with the field name. And you can see we also get auto-completion for this, since Laravel Idea knows that name is a field of our model, and that's why where name is also working here. And now that's all you had to do in order to tell PHP Storm how to use Eloquent. Laravel Idea got you covered by running the Eloquent helper code. Besides Laravel Idea, there's also the Laravel IDE helper package by Barry out there, which you can also use and it will also work together with Laravel Idea. Still, the Eloquent helper code by Laravel Idea will provide you way more powerful features. Okay, back to another example. We can also grab now the first user, and now we have an instance of the user, and now we have auto-completion for the fields like the name or the email, so very similar to what we did with the where method before. But again, it doesn't stop here. Do you remember that we have checked the option for collection proxies when generating the Eloquent helper code? Let me show you what this does. If I'm getting now all the users, which will give me back a model collection, I can use one of the collection methods like each, and then normally I would provide here a callback. But what I can do as well, I can directly chain methods onto this. So now this deactivate method, which is a method on our user model, is now going to run on all the instances of the user. And PHP Storm knows this now because Laravel Idea has told PHP Storm how this works. But as every project, also this one is going to change. So let's introduce now a new model. And let's say this is a post model, and I'm also going to create now a new migration. Also interesting here, I can just start typing string if I'm interested for the string method. And here we're now providing a title. So this means I don't have to write table every time. And now the same also works if we're going to add a text field. Just write text, autocomplete will help us to write table text, and this will be our content. All right, so our migrations have now changed. So this means Laravel Idea has at this point no information about this new posts model and the fields. So this means we need to generate the helper code again. But then of course you also have to check the options again, and maybe this is not what you want to do every time. So instead of that, there is also a specific shortcut which we can use just to generate the Eloquent helper code directly without this dialog. And here you can see now the different options. This is the one which we are using to open up the dialog where we can find all the generations, and then there are two specific ones just for the Eloquent helper code, and this is the one which you want to use if you don't want to see the dialog every time. Let's run it. And now PHP Storm also knows about our new post model. Let's try this out together. Let's return now a new post. And you can see I have autocompletion here for the first or the where method. And if I'm searching for a specific field like the title, we have autocompletion now as well. So let's say now we're interested in getting all the posts for a specific user. So I'm going to call user first method, and then I want to get all the posts. We don't have autocompletion here because we need to define this relationship in our user model. I have already prepared this, so we only need to comment this relationship in. And now you can see we have here autocompletion for the post here. And now I'm getting back an Eloquent builder instance. And here again, I can just define what I'm looking for, like a specific title for the posts. Also, if I don't use the parentheses, which also works in Laravel, I can just use this, and I'm also getting a collection back. And here, give me the title of the first post. So it's pretty amazing to see that all of the Eloquent features that we're using every day are now possible for PHP Storm to recognize just because of the code generation feature of Laravel Idea. But since Laravel Idea now knows so much about our models, it can help us even more on different occasions. For example, let's get to our user model. And now if I use inside this class the generate feature of PHP Storm, you can see I immediately get some options here directly for this class. So in our case, let's say we want to generate a new JSON resource. I'm fine with user resource as a name, and here we go. We have now this new class, and you can see inside the toArray method where we're going to return all the fields from our model. It is already pre-filled because Laravel Idea knows about all the fields of our user model and therefore can fill this in for us already. And now we only have to decide which of these fields we want to show. For example, I don't want the ID, and I'm just going to remove this. And very similar to this, I can also generate a new form request, and let's call this store user request. And inside a form request, I have this rules method, which defines all the validation rules I want to have in use here. And again, I'm going to use the generate helper of PHP Storm, and it also gives me some options here at Eloquent fields. And we are interested in the ones for our user model. Pick it, and here you are. We have now some basic validation rules already made up for you directly here inside this array, and we only have to define if the default ones here also fit our needs. So how cool is this? PHP Storm now knows so much more about our Laravel Eloquent code so that it can give us autocompletion almost everywhere in application with all the things we use every day to develop our Laravel application. And still on top of that, since Laravel Idea knows about all the fields from our models, it can help us to auto-generate these for factories, for JSON resources, or for form requests, and even more. Laravel Idea makes working with Eloquent in an IDE like PHP Storm just a breeze, and there is so much more for you to discover than the things that I showed you today. Have fun!